And today's aspect of language that we're going to work on is extremely important, very critical for your image, for your self-confidence, and for the way you want to present yourself in front of your counterparty or the community that you're going to speak in front of. So I get a lot of questions from my students. How can I improve my pronunciation? How can I sound like a native English speaker? I hate the way I sound. I don't feel confident when I speak. And it's a very important question, because every time you pronounce something and you don't feel confident, it will reflect on your language, it will reflect on your level, and people will sense this. Some people just may lose confidence and decide to stop learning, but just because they hate the way they sound. They think it's awful and unacceptable. And that's why the most important thing in this point here is to understand what your goal is. So, do you want to sound as a native speaker? And why do you need this? Or maybe your goal is just to sound confident enough, clear enough, and natural enough when you speak. So it's very important to understand your goal, what you want to achieve. And once you understand exactly what you want to reach, it will be easier to work directly towards this goal. So let's understand what most people need. They just want to communicate effectively, whether for business, whether for fun, for traveling. They want to be understood clearly. And today's hints are definitely going to help you reach this goal. The first good key, the first hint is that the ears are the key to the tongue. So it's not the eyes, it's not reading, it's listening. And if you don't listen to your target language, in many cases English, then there is no way you're going to pronounce correctly. So the key here is to listen. Listen to films, listen to YouTube videos. We have a separate video about listening, and once you are working correctly on your listening skills, it will automatically reflect on your pronunciation. But if you don't listen, then there is no way you will pronounce correctly. Also, if you have a teacher, you must make sure the teacher has proper pronunciation. Because if you're exposed to the language from one certain source more than others, then it's very important to make sure that this is a reliable source. And when you listen, you need to listen to proper, clean pronunciation and good language. My next point is pronouncing apps. Pronunciation apps. Basically now on the internet, whether through Google, for example, or many other applications, even YouTube, you just type in the word, and right away, immediately, you get 3 or 4 different versions of pronunciation according to your preferences. So some people want to, as we said, you have to define your goal. So if your goal is to speak American neutral English, I don't know, British or Australian, set your goal and focus on one specific accent that you want to always follow. So don't really try to mix different accents. And the question, how is this word pronounced, is not always a right question. There are words in English like either could be pronounced as either, neither, neither, often, often, and all these versions are right. It depends on not only what country you come from, sometimes it depends on what neighborhood in the city you live in. And people really have big differences. Even only in one or state, people could pronounce words differently. So please know your target and understand that there is a lot of diversity when it comes to speaking languages. So it's fine. Just accept different factors and follow one scheme. The next good tip is to record yourself. So as we said, you have to read out loud to hear yourself, and if you really are dedicated to what you're doing there, record yourself. Listen to yourself and keep repeating it afterwards. Listen to yourself and you will automatically understand what flaws you have, what mistakes, what weaknesses, and this way you can improve it. In most cases, a teacher can comment on some of your major mistakes. They're really noticeable ones, but all the little nuances when you speak English or any other language, those are for you to fix, not for anyone else. So the self-study part here is very important. One other important tip is don't overdo the accent. Some people really work hard on their accent that they end up faking it, and it's obviously fake. It's not pleasant to hear, and there is no need to do this. So as we said earlier, know your target. You just want to sound good and clear. No need to sound like the Queen, especially if you're not going to do it right. So that's a big mistake. Try not to fall in this one. And some people, especially in English, think that reading is enough to pronounce. So you see some letters, you pronounce them, and obviously they are silent. There is no need to pronounce these letters. Or they are pronounced differently. Words like through and tough and thorough and though could all be confused together because they basically look the same. They are really identical, almost the same, and they could easily be confused. So as we said, if you don't have a teacher, write it on Google, on YouTube, listen many times and imitate what you listen to. Don't read. Reading is not the key to pronouncing well.